in Google Meet where you can have it where your meet is open for everybody, or it can be where you only have certain people that you can come into your meet?
That is
Or
awesome.
you can have it restricted where they have to be invited to come to your meet. So I like that a lot.
Especially when you keep the little ones outside of the meet when they shouldn't be in the meet.
Yes. Well, I mean, like last night, a group of us were meeting, and we were from all over the country, and we were going to use my meet. And so I'm like, oh, this is great. They can just come in, and I don't have to let them in.
Yeah.
They just came right in. So it was so nice. So, well, how's everybody doing today? It is 4:30. Everybody doing all right? Big thumbs up. Yes, it's
all good.
Late Tuesday afternoon. We appreciate you being here today, and we're here to talk about Google Forms. We're going to do things a little different today. I have a form, and this is not the ocean quiz that probably lots of people have seen before. I actually made this just today. This is a Google form, and you're going to have to pick your favorite. And if you don't have a favorite, I'm sorry. You know, I'm so privy to ocean creatures, so that's what this one's pretty much all about. But it's not a quiz. We're just going to ask you some questions. So let me go ahead and pull it up, and I'm going to get the share link for it to send it out to everybody. And I'm going to put it in the chat. So here we go. There it is. And you should be done pretty quick because it's only going to ask you a couple things depending on which way you decide to answer. And hello, how are you? How's everybody doing? Oh, already got a couple of responses. Good, good, good. We have 5. How many people we have here? 1, 2, 3. Well, a couple more.
Becky wants to know why there's no narwhals in there.
Well, you know, the narwhals, they live up north where it's very cold. And, you know, I don't do well in the cold. So I could have, but I was trying to do something a little different. And so what did you notice about this form that some of you probably, hopefully chose like a dangerous creature, and some of you maybe have chosen a non-dangerous creature. I can go ahead and open up your mics, and what did people choose? Because I'm going to go in and look at it, but before I go and look at it, because not everybody saw the same thing, I'm hoping.
I had sea jellies.
Yes.
I had to go dolphin. I'm a flipper fan from when I was a kid.
Yes, dolphin is a good choice. Anybody else have something different? So y'all didn't see the same things.
Mm-hmm.
No. How did that happen? How did I do that?
Was it based on what you answered? Like you had 3 criteria, and then depending what you, because I was watching the little circle, depending what you answered, then it opens it up, and then it went to that next topic.
Yes. And I'm going to actually show you how to do this. I am going to tell you that if you're going to do a branching form, what you want to do is you want to have a sheet of paper. I know it's hard to see. You want to have a sheet of paper out ahead of time so you can branch it out and map it out ahead of time, because it's going to get a little confusing if you just look at the form. Larry, you know what I'm talking about here. I had like 9 sections to this, and you only answer like like 2 questions, right? So there's like 2 questions per area. So there was a lot of branching that went on. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the form, and I'm just going to show you the sections, and then we're actually going to create one together. Okay. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, and I think it's this one. Yes. Let me show this one. Okay. So here's my form, and I know I'm in edit form because I have my little floating menu over here on the side. And I did ask you for your email, and that was just part of the settings that I can also show you where that's located within the form. Okay, so the first question was, what type of ocean creature would you consider to be your favorite? You had fish, you had mammals, and you had creatures. So I'm going to click into this question, so just so you can kind of get an idea of how we did this, and then we're actually going to create one together. All right. You see what happened here? We have fish, and we're going to go, if they answer fish, you answer fish. We went to section 2 for fish. So you're not going to see the mammals. You're not going to see the creatures. You're only going to see the fish. Same for the mammals. You're going to go to the mammal section. You're not going to see the creatures or the fish. Is that kind of making sense? And I'm going to show you how to set all this up and further down. But again, I have section 2 of 9. So I had 9 sections that I had to put together in order to make this happen. And again, what I did was I said, okay, what do I want first? And I actually just mapped it out. I made almost like a chart for myself. So that way, when I went in to do the questions, it was very easy for me to add those answer choices and the different question choices in there. That's the easy part. Are you ready to create your own? I see some thumbs up. All right. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and move to my Google Drive here in just a second. Let me get here. Let me open up a new Google Forms first before I start sharing. There we go. Okay. This should look vaguely familiar. This is a Google form. I'm going to tell you, the first thing I always do when I get a Google form is I change the color of it. The purple, I'm just not a super big fan of purple. So I'm just going to click onto the palette there, and I can change it. I can add a header, and you notice I added a header on there. You can do that if you want to. You can get as creative as you want. I'm just going to change the color real quick. There we go. And I'm going to change the background color to gray. There, that's it. That's all I want to do first. Okay, so now here's my entitled form. The first thing you also want to do is title your form. So what should we call this? My first form. And if I will wait just a second, if you need to open up a Google form so you can work right alongside here, kind of get some ideas. Is everybody okay? I can't see you. What are you seeing, Larry? Are you seeing thumbs up? Or?
No, we're good. We're all good.
Okay. All right. Okay. So on my form, one of the things that I have as a default is email. Did somebody ask a question?
No, just a thumbs up.
Okay.
Flying up.
Okay. As I require an email. Why do I do that? Well, sometimes when you ask for a first and last name, regardless of how many times people write their first and last name, I guarantee this happens. People misspell their name. They have a typo. I can't tell you how many. I have lots of forms out there that actually take that information in and give people certificates if they've gone through some coursework with me. And a lot of times I'll get phone calls or emails. Hey, you misspelled my name on the certificate. I don't make the certificates. The system makes the certificates for me, and it's based on what they put on the form. So one reason I asked for that email address is because they're not going to mess it. It's going to take it automatically, because if I ask them to put in their email address instead of collecting it automatically, they could put in the wrong email address. Seen that happen. I can't tell you how many times too. So I'm so glad that this feature is here to collect that email. Okay. And now we're going to go down to the first question. My first question is where we're going to start the branching. Okay. So let's say we're going to have a barbecue. It's the end of summer. The weather is finally getting down into the mid to lower 90s. What's the temp outside today? It's 83 outside. Are you kidding me? Really? I haven't even been outside today. What's it like out there? Is it chilly out there? It feels like it should be with 83 degrees. All right, so we're gonna pretend we're gonna have the last of the summer pool party or barbecue or of some kind, and so we want to know what people are going to bring to our barbecue. So the first thing we're going to say is which of the following would you like to bring? Right, and we need to kind of make it a little bit vague here in the first one. So first of all, it defaulted to checkboxes on mine, and I'm not sure why it did that, but I'm going to go ahead and go back up to multiple choice. And my option one, I'm gonna put meat. I'm gonna put salad. What else are we gonna have, Larry? We're gonna have salad. We're gonna have meat.
Desserts.
Desserts. There we go. Okay. So now I have these 3 areas. Now for each one of these areas, I'm going to ask people to choose based on that. So how am I going to get that set up? Right down here. Remember, I always say this, if you see 3 dots in Google, that means there's something awesome in there. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots that are down here at the bottom. And you can all see this, right? Larry, you can see what I'm doing here?
You can see it.
Okay. Just want to make sure. And it says, are you going to add a description? No. We're going to go to section based on answer. But in order to do that, we're going to need to make some sections, because right now, all 3 of those are just going to go to a next section that doesn't exist yet. And it's just going to end the form because we only have the 1 question. So to create a new section, right over here on your floating menu, the bottom piece, and this is so weird because I think it looks like an equal sign. Yeah, maybe. But that's to create a new section. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. And now I have a new section here, and I'm going to name this section to make it easier for myself when I want to assign that section to an answer choice. So this section is going to be called meat. Oops, let me make sure I erase that first. Meat. Okay. And then I'm going to add another section, and I'm going to name this one salad. Okay. And I'm going to name one more section, and we're going to call this one Larry's favorite, desserts. Okay. All right. So now we have our 3 sections. So I'm going to go back up to this question, and I'm going to click right in here. And right here it says continue to next section. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to click on the disclosure arrow, and I'm going to go to section 2, which was meat. Okay, see how that's why I named them, so that way I know which section goes with what. You don't have to name them, but I'd like to name them that way. It helps me to keep on track. For salad, I'm going to click on the disclosure arrow, and I'm going to go to, of course, salad. And desserts, I'm going to go to desserts right there. So now, when you click on one of those answer choices, it's going to take you to a different part of the form. All right. So now under meat, do you see this blue line right here? That blue line means that the next question is going to go underneath that blue line. I don't want the next question to go underneath this blue line here, because that's in a different section. There's like a little divider line in there that we can't really see right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on meat. And now the blue line is on meat, which means my next question will go right underneath there, which is where I want it to go. So right here, the little plus sign, add a question. Click it. Okay. So under meat, what type of meat will you bring? And we're going to do Larry's favorite, steak. Good steak is always good on the barbecue. Hamburger and hot dogs. Hot dogs. There we go. All right. So we have steak, hamburgers, and hot dogs. Now, are we going to go down further from that? Or do you think we're good? I think we would know like what we're going to be bringing. I think we would be good there. Okay. This right here where it says continue to next section, we're not going to worry about that yet, because we're going to see if we have more branching to do, because that, again, you want to make sure that you kind of map this out first. This one's a small one, so I didn't need to map this one. I'm just coming off the top of my head right now. So yeah, if I get off track, please get me right back on track. All right. So we have our 3 types of meats. Salad. We're going to click on it to get that blue line right next to salad. And we're going to click that plus sign. And we're going to add our question. What type of salad will you bring? All right. And let's say potato salad. I like potato salad. If I could spell. potato. How's that? There we
I
go.
love spell check.
Yeah, me too. My fingers are just going everywhere today. All right, potato salad. What, macaroni salad?
Yep.
Macaroni salad. All right. And green salad. You could also do Jello salad, I guess. Okay, well, I'll leave it with those three choices. Okay, we're not going to worry about this part yet. And desserts. Again, I need to click on there and I need to then add my question. All right, let's hear some desserts out there.
Cheesecake.
Ooh.
Bringing out the big guns.
I'm telling you what, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Cheesecake. Oh, I love cheesecake. Oh, that's another one.
A plain old chocolate cake.
Ooh. You mean like my world famous chocolate cake?
Yep, that one would work.
Yeah. My one that's in a box. All right. And what's another one? One more.
Maybe flan? No?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. So now we've got our three choices. Okay. And that's all we're going to ask today. So what should our next step need to be? Is we have this continue to next section, continue to next section after each section. What's going to happen if I run this? I'm going to go through each one. I'm going to first, I'll go like to the, for the meat, let's say I chose meat and then I choose steak. After I choose steak from here, it's going to go to the next section, which is going to take me to the salad. I didn't want to bring salad. So this is not going to work unless I get it set up just right. So underneath the meat up here, where we have our three choices of meat, continue to next section. We're not going to do that. We are going to submit the form because that's all I want. I just want to know what kind of meat you're bringing. And we're going to do the same thing for salad. And we're going to do the same thing for the desserts. Come on. Oh, it's already going to go to the submit because it's the last question. Hello. So now we're good to go. So let's just take a look at what this is going to look like. Does anybody know how I preview it? I know we have some Google Form people out there. What do I do to preview it? The eyeball.
Was it
right
the
here.
eye?
Yes, it's
Yep.
the eyeball. Right here it
That
says
is
preview.
correct.
That is correct. That's where you want to go. So anytime that you want to see what your form is going to look like, you can always preview it. And then that way you can see if you've made any mistakes, if it works the way you want it to before you send it out to somebody and somebody goes, oh, it didn't work right. And you're like, oh, man. Oh. So you always want to check it. So I'm going to click on preview. All right, I'm going to share this tab instead because I want to make sure you see what I'm seeing. All right, so I can put my email in here. Okay, which of the following would you like to bring? I'm going to bring some meat next. Ooh, look at that. It took me to steak, hamburgers, or hot dogs, and I'm going to choose steak. That just sounds really good. And look right down here. There's the submit button because after I answer that question, it's going to submit it. Click submit. There, yay. And notice here it says submit another response. What if I don't want that there? That could be a problem. I only want everybody to choose one. What am I going to do about that? I'm going to have to fix that. So I'm going to go back into my form right here. I'm here on the edit form and I'm going to do a little bit of changing. So I'm going to go in here to the settings. Okay. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to check my responses. I'm going to make sure that it is going to that it's collecting my email, which I saw that it was, which is that's fine. And under the presentation right here, it says show link to submit another response. That's kind of defaulted as on. I don't want that on. I don't want that on. So I'm going to turn that off. Now, did anybody read the little message? Like when you submitted on your form, did anybody read that?
Would you like copies of your answers or responses?
No. Like as soon as you hit the submit button, a little message appeared. Did anybody remember what that message said? Because the default message is your response has been recorded. That's great, but that's not the end of it. I can edit that. So let's say I could, I think I said something like, thank you for your awesome answers or your awesome input, something like that. You can put what you want in here. So once they hit the submit button, that message comes up for them. Maybe it could be, hey, now take out your reading book or whatever that you want them to do next. You can put that message in there, which is kind of nice that you're able to do that. So I do like that. But just unfortunately, this is one of the only places that you have to click save in Google Forms. So you do need to save it. Whatever you put in there, you make sure that you do save it. Okay. So that's something to consider. I also want to talk to you about some of the restrictions that are in here. Because what happens is when you go to share the form, right here it says restrict users to YISD. Now, some of you may not have this because of your sharing permissions, but if you're trying to share outside of the district, you want this to be something for your parents to fill out, you're going to have to go through your ITT or you're going to have to go through your librarian because they're able to share on the outside. But I think the rest of you, I don't think you have the ability. Am I right about that, Larry?
Yep, I think you are right.
Yeah. So you may or may not have this here where you restrict it to YISD. What I have found in the past is that some people are like, hey, I can't let my parents share it out, and it could be that you do have that button, and then you just have to make sure that it's turned off to share it outside of the district. But I'm not sure that everybody.
Yeah, I don't. I think they do. I think they don't have that capability.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, if there's something happens that you have to do a form, make sure there's no student information on it. Make sure there's nothing with student pictures that did tie, and you can go to your ITT to help you with that.
Yes. Yes.
But that's really rare. A lot of times it's okay to let our students do it or let the parents do it through the student's account.
Yes. Yes. Those are two hacks, if you will, to get people to fill out the form. Limit one response. Now you saw that I turned off the link, so they can't do it again. But let's say that they filled it out and they want to be a wise guy, and they say, "Hey, give me the link because there's no more link. Can you send it to me?" And so then their friend gives them the link, and then they fill it out again because there's nothing preventing them from doing that. Unless, of course, you have the limit to one response on. Now, if you do that, I'm going to just let you know now that they're going to have to make sure they're logged into Google to do that. Because if they're using a personal account or something like that, it will not allow them to get in and actually log into the system. Because then what it does is it checks that email address, and then anybody who has that Google account will not be able to fill out the form again. It's locked from them. So that's kind of a nice feature to have if in fact you're making it into a quiz, which I'll show you again here in just a minute how to do that. If you've got lots of questions, you may want to put the progress bar on. I know there's been some forms I've filled out in the past, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've already answered 15 questions. How many more is it to go? And then you look at the progress bar and it shows 10%. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be here all night doing this. Okay, let me see what they want to know now. So that progress bar is kind of an important thing, especially if there's a lot of questions involved. Let them know how long they're actually going to be there to fill that form out. Hopefully it's not going to be too long. Okay, any questions about this so far?
No, Misha, on mine, what helped a lot is because if we had a test and I made it that it graded it on a Google form, because when I was teaching science, I had it per period, so I could turn off the responses.
Mm-hmm.
So I timed it so that way if the kid didn't finish the test, I turned it off so that way they wouldn't finish it in second period or third period.
Yes.
Yes. And I locked it as well.
Yes.
So didn't Google anything.
Yes, and we're going to get to both of those things, actually. Thank you for reminding me about the turn off piece. Now, what Rebecca's referring to is make this a quiz. So if you turn that on, what it will do is then it will look for those answer keys, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But that other part where you were able to turn off the responses, up here at the top, you've got questions, responses, and settings. So if I go into responses, right now, you'll see that it is accepting responses. But if I turn it off, now it is not accepting responses. So even if they can go to that link 50 times and the form will tell them over and over again, I'm sorry, it's not accepting responses anymore. This is very helpful if if you're using this in the classroom. There's not a timer, so to speak, that goes with this as of right now. I know that there's a couple extensions that people have been working on for that. I've been working on one for that. But there's nothing that's out there that is like built into the Google Forms that will help you with that, unfortunately. Which is a shame. I'm hoping that they put that in very soon, because that sure would be nice. I want it to go on, and wouldn't it be great if you could turn it on and turn it off, kind of like what we do like in Eduphoria, like with some of our testing. I think that would be really, really helpful. And hopefully one day they will do that. And you've heard me say before that if you click on the little question mark that's in the bottom right corner that's giving feedback, you can give them feedback, and that might be a piece of feedback you would like to give them. Hey, I'd love to have a timer on the turn off and on for responses, because that way you could say, okay, I want it to turn on at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I want it to turn off at 10:25 or whatever, however long it's going to take the students to do that. Okay. Where do the responses go? They're just out there in cyberspace somewhere, right? They're just hanging out there.
Doesn't it automatically create its own sheet, Google Sheet?
Well, actually, it doesn't automatically create it, but it will put the information on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to this form here. Let's see. No, it's this one. Here we go. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page here. Hopefully it will bring it up. Okay. All right. All right. So now we've got, I think this is the one that we were just working on. So if I click on the responses, up here at the top, you have link to sheets. Okay. Since I don't have really any data except for the one that's in there, I guess I'm going to go to my favorite ocean animal, since that's where everybody went to. So it says link to sheet. So I click it, and what it's going to do is it's going to ask me, and I don't know if you can see that pop-up window. I hope you can. It says, hey, you want me to create a new spreadsheet? It's called my favorite ocean animal. And I'm like, yes, I want you to create that spreadsheet for me. So I click create, and it is going to open up a spreadsheet for me with all of the questions that I asked. So now I can go in here and I can see how the students answered, or if it's a survey for parents or whatever it might be, it's all in here, all inclusive. So all of my answers are on. I don't have to. Back in the day when we would send out surveys, you remember, like way a long time ago, when we'd have to like do like tally marks, and then we'd have to like make graphs ourselves and all of that way back in the day.
Yep.
Maybe that was too far back for some people. We have some young people in here. But that's the way we would do everything that we would send. I mean, if we wanted to get data, we had to like basically create it ourselves. And then Google came along, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, because now Google can do it for me. And again, here you can see there's all the email addresses and what everybody answered. Now, if this was a quiz, there would actually be a part here that would tell me how many out of how many the person got correct. It doesn't give you a percentage, but it does give you, like, they got 10 out of 10, or they got 5 out of 10, or whatever the answer is. And then that way, that would be, you figure out your percentages and you put those in your grade book if you like to. So this is really, really helpful. And plus then I can see what they answered. So then we can have conversations about, why in the world did you answer this question this way? Or, hey, what were, that was an awesome job, the way you thought about that. What was your thinking process behind, the way that you answered that problem? So this is really great to have conversations with students, to have conversations with parents, and also this is a, like almost like a grade book for you as well. So you've got this documentation that's just saved in your Google Drive. You don't have to worry about losing that piece of paper anywhere. It's in Google Drive, and it'll live there for as long as you like. Any questions about this? No? We're good?
Good.
Okay,
Questions?
awesome. All right, I'm going to go back to our one that we were working on together. We had the one response that I did. I'm going to go ahead and go back into the settings. Now, Rebecca, I think you said something about locking the quiz. Are you talking about the Chromebook lock for the quiz?
Yeah, so like they can't Google anything. It locks them and they're stuck there. And then it also tells you, like, let's say they want to close it. So if the student taking a test and you put it on a test and they close it and they open it, you get a notification right away that they opened it and closed it. So to
Yes.
prepare something.
So that would be like a red flag. Oh, this kid got out of the quiz that we were taking right now. Maybe they're looking up answers. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe we had a hiccup in the internet, right? That happens sometimes. But if they're the only one, chances are they're probably trying to find something where they're not supposed to. And to get to that, you have to make it a quiz. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the quiz feature. And you can release the grades immediately if you like to the students. This is the lock mode right here. What this lock mode actually does, it prevents students from using a phone, prevents them from using a laptop. They have to use their Chromebook, and that Chromebook has to be managed by YISD. So it has to be one of our Chromebooks, and it knows. I can tell you right now, it knows. I have tested all devices on this, and it will not let you in that quiz if you're on a phone, if you're on a tablet, if you're on a regular MacBook, if you're on a PC. You have to be on a Chromebook that is managed by YISD. It has to be one of ours. If it's not, it will not allow the student to even get into the quiz or test. Another feature is that it locks them out of everything. So the only thing that they see is what they call like a kiosk mode. The only thing they see is the quiz itself. They can't like, okay, let me open up a new tab here and go onto Google and search for sperm whales. Let me see if I can find something on them. No, you will not be able to do that, because if you try to exit out, if you like push the escape button, it'll say, hey, are you sure you want to get out of this quiz? Because I'm going to tell your teacher. And so then they have to make a choice. Is it that important or is it not? And if they choose to get out, then the email goes directly to the teacher right away saying, hey, this student got out of the quiz. And then when they go back into the quiz, you get a notification saying that they've gotten back into the quiz. And so now that red flag is up. And I don't want to just say that all kids, kids are going to, do that. They're not, but that's there because we've had a lot of questions about, well, Google Forms, kids can cheat on that. Well, we're one-to-one now. So there's really not a way for them to cheat if you're using the locked mode within Google Forms. And this is so easy to set up. You saw what I did. I just turned the quiz on, and then the lock mode, I just turned that on. Once that's on, that's it. You can't access this form without using a Chromebook that is managed by YISD. But I want to show you a couple other things that are in here for the quiz. So let's say that, I'm setting this up for my kids. This is going to be a quiz that I'm going to give to like 3 different classes. Okay. All right. So right here, do I want to show them the missed questions? If this is a quiz that I'm going to be giving to first period and third period and fourth period, do I want to show them the missed questions? Maybe, but maybe not until later. So I think I might want to turn that one off, because if they know that they missed that questions, then they can be telling their buddies who are in my third period class, hey, I missed this question and this is what I answered. Don't answer it that way. I mean, we want to prevent the cheating where we can. So I'm probably going to turn that one off. I'm probably also going to turn off the correct answers, because if they missed a question, I don't want to give them the correct answer in the event that, because since I'm giving it to different groups of people. Now, I'm not going to be giving the same exact Google form to that third period or fourth period class. I'm actually going to make a copy of this, and and then I'm going to have it do its thing where it can randomize the questions and the answers for me. That's kind of an important thing too. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this up. Now, point values, I'm going to leave point values on because I want them to know how much each problem is worth. Okay, and I can also default the questions. I can make the number anything I want to on the quiz itself. But if I want to default it to 10, or if I want to default it to 20, or whatever number that you normally use, you can do that right here. You can put whatever number you in there, 1 to 100. So you can even do like 72 points if you wanted to, whatever. So every question would then be worth 72 points. But you can go in and edit each question as you like. I just have the default set at 10. That's what I have it at. Okay. All right, and we looked at responses already. We're correcting the email addresses. We did restrict it to YISD, and you see that kind of turned on. I didn't turn that on. If you remember, we just looked at it. It turned on automatically. Larry, why did it turn it on automatically? Yeah, I can't hear you. I caught you off guard.
Because it already knows what you want.
It already knows that it's a quiz, and so it needs to restrict it to YISD because it's on the locked Chromebook mode. And it knows that it should only be one response because it's a quiz. So it turned them on automatically for you. That's pretty cool. There's that AI stuff. Gotta be careful with that. All right, for the presentation, again, there's the progress bar. I have the link off because I don't want them submitting again, which it should automatically never be on anyway because this is a quiz. All right. And
now, Misha, if it's a study guide, maybe.
But if you know, we have done a whole unit on sharks.
Yeah.
And we've studied all different types of sharks, and now I want to know what they know. I'm going to want to make this a quiz, and I don't want them to answer one time. And I mean, because we've studied long and hard about this, so
yep.
You know, and
it goes back to what is it you're trying to accomplish.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you could make this a complete study guide. You know, we also did the practice sets earlier this year, which is very similar to this.
Yep.
So either way, and that one doesn't really have points either because it's a practice set. But you know, I'm going to show you how you can again change those points. So and disable the autosave for respondents. Now, that one, I'm going to say is a really great feature. I don't know if you've noticed or if you filled out Google Forms in our district within probably the past 8 months or so, but we have this autosave thing. So what that means is if I step away from a Google form that I'm filling out and it's collecting my email address, right? Because that's we kind of have them set up, and I walk away from it, or my internet goes down or something. When I go back into that Google form, it's going to remember what my answers were. Hallelujah. How many times we filled out forms and your internet goes down, or your browser gets shut by mistake, and you're like, no, now I have to do all that work all over again. Not anymore. Google will remember your answers for you if you're logged in. So I really like having that turned on. And it's based on form. So, but if you have a student who's doing a quiz in your class, I would definitely have this turned on, because again, sometimes, we can't trust our network no matter where we are 100% of the time, because things happen. Electricity goes out, and then of course your internet's going to go down. Any number of things could happen. And if they have been providing such great answers and then it's all gone because of a glitch in the system, that's not fair. So I would definitely want to have that turned on. And let's see, for our defaults, of course, we're collecting our email address, and then these are the questions defaults. And I always have this turned on because no matter what, I'm always going to want that question. If I'm going to ask a question, I want it to be required. Unless of course it's like for some kind of volunteer thing, and then I probably will turn the required part off of it. But I want all my questions to be required, because what happens is, as you're going through, I don't know if this has happened to you when you're working on Google Forms and you're like, okay, you're asking these questions, and then you go to send it and no one's answered the questions. Well, that's because they were all not required. And so you can just pass right through them and then hit the submit button and not have to answer anything. Well, what's the point of me giving a Google form out to people if they're not going to answer them? So, but if you make them a required question, it will not allow them to go to the next section. It will not allow them to hit the submit button until they have answered the question. They put something in there. So that's key. I like that. So I always have that turned on all of my forms. And then if I don't want a question to be required, I will just uncheck that one question. But most of my questions are going to be required. Are there any questions about any of that?
I'm good. I don't see anything.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go back into here to the questions, because, this is new. I don't remember seeing this, the little alert before. Is that new, or has that always been there?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen that. Okay, it says lock mode is on. Only respondents using managed Chromebooks can open this quiz. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But now I can go in here and you see where it says shuffle option order. Why is that important? Because if I'm in the third period class and I'm like, okay, yeah, number 2, I chose B. Now the numbers are going to be mixed up, and we can even shuffle the order of the questions as well. Now, if you're giving this as a quiz, there's probably a high chance that you're going to be asking for their first name and their last name on the quiz. And so changing up the questions, that's a little tricky, because that means they might get the who was the first president of the United States as question number 1, and then question number 8 might be first name, and they're going, what the heck is this? So you need to think about that. If you're going to collect their names, you may not want to, shuffle up the order of the questions, but you can shuffle up the order of the answer choices. Okay, so that way, whoever opens up that quiz, their answer choices will not be in the same order as the person right next to them who is taking the quiz. Okay,
now, Misha, you can always pick and get their emails automatically.
Yes, well,
and which student it is by their email.
That's true. I do know. Well, like on my forms that I have, the reason I ask for a first name and last name is because I want to print out a certificate for them. So I ask for that information. And I do know that there are some people who may not know all of their kids' email addresses. They probably will be able to figure it out. But if I'm teaching middle school or high school, I'm not going to memorize 150 email addresses. And that might be a little tricky for me. So having that first and last name might be very helpful to me. And so that's what you just have to make that choice. Does it matter the choice or the answer or the question where they're located, or am I more concerned about the answer choices? So, and you can do both. You can mix everything up if you wanted to, and it will still put it on the spreadsheet all nice and pretty for you. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the answer key here. So if we're making this a quiz, which, this is going to be our barbecue thing, and we're just going to pretend that this is a question that would have a correct answer. You'll see here's the 10 points because that's my default, and it says answer key right here. Well, this is very similar. Wow, I feel like I've done this like about 3 or 4 weeks ago when we did practice sets. This is almost the same thing. I'm going to click on that answer key, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the correct answer. Meat. We'll choose meat. And now I can go up here and I can change the number of points it's worth. Maybe I want it to be worth 12 points or 15 points, 20 points, whatever it is I choose. And it doesn't go increments of 5. It can go as increments of 1. So you can make this worth 13 points if you wanted to. You make whatever it is. And when you're finished, you can click done. But look at this really cool thing right here. Add answer feedback. Was there something that was similar to this on the practice sets, Larry? I think there was something similar to this. I think
on the practice test.
On the practice sets that we did.
Oh, practice sets, yes.
Yeah. So if I click add answer feedback, I can answer feedback if they got it incorrect, or so I can do either or both. I can add feedback if they got the answer correct. What kind of feedback? I can type the feedback in here. Oops, not quite. Let's try again. I could add any number of things in here, but look here, I can add a link in here. So let's say that we've been studying about the sharks, and there's this really great website designed by Misha Daniel that's just awesome about sharks, and I want to take my kids there, and so that way they can refresh their memory about, the Greenland shark, because that one's so cool. And so I can actually put a link in there if that's what this question's about. Now this question's about meat and salad and dessert. So maybe we're going to have some recipes in here about steak, right? I could do that. So I click on the link, I put the link in here, and then I can put some text to display about that link, steak recipes. I can put whatever I want in here. And then I add, and then I can save it. Okay. Now I can add several links, but look what else you can add. You can also add YouTube videos to this. You can add as a whole bunch. It doesn't have to just be one. You can add more than one. And then, so once you have that feedback, and again, you can add feedback for incorrect answers, for correct answers, or for both incorrect and correct answers. Now, think about the power of feedback. I was just reading, it's no longer a tweet. I guess it's called a post now, from Caitlin Tucker. She's one of my heroes. And I just read this literally just like 20 minutes before we started. And she says that, giving feedback to students is one of the most powerful things that you can do for them to help themselves be better learners. And I'm going to say Alice Keeler, who is another one of my gurus. I just love her so much. These are her words. Please, I apologize, but these are her words, not mine. She says, crappy instant feedback, sorry about that, is way more powerful than awesome delayed feedback. Think about that for just a second. Think about feedback that you get. Think about that feedback you get. Where do you get feedback? Probably from your administrator, right? Your administrator comes in, they're taking, they're writing some notes down, and you're like, oh man, I'm really rocking it today. I've got this under control. Everything is going so great. And then they leave. There's no note. There's nothing. Day goes by, 2 days go by, 3 days go by, 4 days go by, nothing. And you're like, what the heck? Did I just, mess that up? Did I punt the ball instead of, throwing it for a touchdown? What happened here? And then finally you get that response back, and it's been, been a few days later and you don't remember. And you're like, oh yeah, I guess look at that. I did okay. Okay. And you move on. But yet if that feedback was instant, I love the way you had the small groups. One thing, could you work, maybe, little Johnny was over here and he needed, another assignment, or, whatever it might be that helps us to improve ourselves. That is so much more powerful for us. Same for our kids. So giving them the feedback on a Google form, which will be instant is going to be way more powerful for your students, for their learning process, than if you were to give them like an encyclopedia 5 days from now about this particular topic on sharks or whatever it is that we're studying. Does that make sense? Yeah, kind of. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox. But I really believe in feedback, and here we can do that. Now, this feedback appeared because it's a quiz. It is not there just on a regular form. It has to be a quiz in order for to have that feedback component there. Okay. And when you're done, click done for that question. Move on to the next question. If you want to change that point value, you can. You choose the correct answer. What if there's more than one correct answer? What do we do? We can't do it with a multiple choice, but what can we do it with? We make them into check boxes. Now I'm going to go back into my answer key. Let's say, you know what? Desserts and meat, those are my favorites. Those are the right answers. Now you notice now there's 2 right answers. Could I make all 3 right answers? Yes, you can. Those kind of questions I think are so hard. Choose all that apply. Those make me nervous every single time, because I'm always thinking, okay, so there's obviously going to be more than one answer, and it could be this one. It could be this one. Oh, it could be that one too. I don't know if it's going to be all of them though. And you start to think and second guess yourself, because you're really processing that information, right? Yeah, those are tough questions, but they're good thinkers. They make us good thinkers. Any questions about that? Again, I used the check boxes. I didn't use the multiple choice in order to get there. Questions? Okay. All right. Well, we're getting closer here. What about, I added some pictures to the form that y'all filled out. Does anybody want to take a stab at how I did that?
You
The
want me to
little
go?
image one? The little image, the one that looks like a picture,
Yes.
like your gallery?
Yes. And there's 2 different ways that you can put a picture into your Google form. And I'm going to show you both ways. So let's say for my question here, I'm going to look up steak. And now this is for my answer choice. You see, here's my answer, steak. And then there's this little image over here to the side. So if I click it, it's going to say, okay, where do you want to get this picture from? And you can upload a picture. If you've got pictures on your desktop, you can upload pictures. You can use a webcam and take a picture if you have something available. I don't recommend doing URL. I don't recommend it. I still don't know why it's there, because there's a big chance that either the picture is going to go away from the URL, or that picture might be a picture that you shouldn't be using for copyright purposes. So I would stay away from the URL. It'll go into your photos if you've got Google Photos on your computer or within your Google Drive. It'll go to your Google Drive if you've got pictures in there. And Google Images. This is where I like to go, because I know that these are good, high quality pictures and I can use them without worrying about copyright. That's important. So I'm gonna click on Google Images and I'm gonna search for steak. I guess I'm hungry. I guess that's what the problem is here. Ooh, this one looks so yummy. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and insert it. All I did was click on it and I inserted it, and there it is. Super, super simple. That's one way of inserting a picture into your Google or into your question. Now, look at the floating menu that's over here to the side. One of the options is add an image. Wait, why would they have it over there and have it inside the question? Because when it's out here, it's not going to be tied to that question, but it could be an image that you're going to ask a few questions about. So if I click on the image, and I'm going to go to Google Images again, and this time I'm going to search for sharks because they're my absolute favorite. I'm going to choose just an image just really quickly. Look where it puts it. Boom. It puts it above, or in this case, it was below the question. So I'm going to go ahead and just move it up. You see how I'm doing that? All I did was there's these little 6 dots on the top. I grabbed it and I moved it up. It's like a little handle, and I can move it anywhere I want to. You can do that with all the questions that are in your Google form. So let's say you're moving along and like, oh no, this question's in the wrong place. Move it. Super easy. All you do, you just click on those 6 little dots and you can just move it around. Okay. But look what happened. The picture's a lot bigger, and it's above I put it above the question that maybe we were going to be asking about this image. But now I can say, you know, up here in my where my section is, I could say use the following image to answer the next 3 questions, and then my next 3 questions could be about this image. Okay, and you can see I can put an image title on it if I want to. I can also, I love that they've added this. They added this about 6-7 months ago, where you've got the rich text. So now you can do bold, you can do italics, underline, and it allows you to put links into your questions and into anything that you're typing in a Google form. That used to not be there. And you would literally have to do a hack in order to get a link into Google Forms. You could do it. You had to do a lot of copy pasting and tricking, but now it's actually in there. And so it makes life easy, because you could say, go to this website, click, all right, and tell me one thing that you learned, or, you know, if you want to make that like an open-ended type of a question. So you've got that ability to do that too. And this is on all the question types. And
I gotta go. So I'll see you.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm gonna post on. I have this cool little Google form. It's a zombie one. So if anybody's like wants to make a copy of it or something, it's like if they get the right answer, it forces them. So I'll see you.
Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. Bye-bye. All right. And if you click on the 3 dots here, what you can do is you can align your picture. So you can align it left, you can center it, or you can align it right. Now it's not going to like be a big one. Okay. So, that didn't really do much, because it's a pretty large picture, but you can also move it. And if you don't want the picture there again anymore, you can remove it. Or if you feel that you need to change it at some time, oops, I got the wrong one, you can change that image here. Now down here in the answer choices, when we have the steak in here, you see there's a little X here. That's how you get rid of the image there. You can just click on it to remove it. Now you don't get to align here, because based on how many answer choices, if you notice on the one that you did for me, some of them had 3, a couple of them had 4. Now you didn't see everybody else's, you just saw yours. So it kind of put it like a box, right? There's 1 and then 2 and then 3. And then if there's only 3, there's only 3. But it puts them in a specific order for you. So the pictures are going to be smaller because they're tied to the question, where the one that's just in the Google form, it's nice and big. Now, one thing you can add here, where the image is, that you can't add here for the answer choices, is a video. Now we can put that feedback in there. Yes, and we can attach it to videos. That's fine. Those will all like be links. But if I wanted to actually add a video, maybe a short video, maybe we're doing digital citizenship, and I want to show them what it looks like when a student is grieving. That not mean that they're crying, when they are bullying other kids online in a game. And I want to show them how that happens and what that looks like. I could then go to my add a video, find a video on YouTube, get the address and pop it in there. And then I can, this when there would be a video, and then they would click on the video, watch the video, and then maybe they have some questions underneath to answer. Make sense? Yes. Yes. Is there anything else I can show you? We're down to about 6 minutes, and I want to make sure we have some time if there's any questions. Bueller, anyone?
Misha, when you did that form, what's it called? When they give the section like desserts, you did the title and then you did the questions. It automatically went to my first form, go section, my first form.
Yeah, you talking about the spreadsheet? Okay, let me pull up the spreadsheet. Here is the spreadsheet. No, that's not the right one. Let me get the spreadsheet for this one. Give me 1 second. Once I get it open, then I'll share the tab with you. Give me a second. Here we go. Okay, this is the spreadsheet. Okay, remember we made it into a quiz, so that's why it's got 0 out of 40, because I'm just so terrible. I didn't even answer any of them right. Okay, so I said, which of the following? Here's the meat, and then I did steak, because I didn't do salad and I didn't do dessert. That's it. So it just shows me what I answered. And on the one that you all did, let me get that one out here. Here we go. Like, okay, so if you said mammals, you did not answer anything for the dangerous fish or the sharks, and then you told me which animal that you liked, which mammal. And so it does categorize everything, and it puts it exactly where it needs to go, which makes it easier for you to look at. Sometimes if you have a lot of questions, you're going to have to do a lot of scrolling through here. Okay. And we don't have time to talk about another little component of this that we could use, something called Flubaroo. If you want to learn more about that, email me and I'll send you some information on that, because it will help you grade, and it'll make these really cool charts and make everything look so pretty. And it really is eye-popping, but it also is color-coded, so that way you know who passed and who did not by just a quick glance. So if there's something else you'd like to learn about, let me know. Just shoot me an email and I'll get some information out to you. Okay? And any other questions?
And just heads up, students can do this too. So if they need to get data and work with information, they can do it also. So just keep that in mind.
Yes, absolutely. How y'all feeling about Google Forms? You should feel like you're experts now.
Yeah.
Now you know how to branch. You know how in branching. I hate to say this, but well, I don't hate to say it because I like to code, but it makes you think like a coder, because if this happens, then this is going to happen, and so you have to make your little branching chart, and then from there, then you make your form. It's fun. And if you need any other assistance with it, I don't know everything about Google Forms, but I do know some stuff. So if there's something else that you might need some help with, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I think we are out of time, Larry.
We are down. We are done.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. We thank you so much for being here today, taking the time out of your busy day to learn something. Next week.